What did you say, anatomy was? What's the rate? Animals. I forgot how to do it.
All day long. Violating the rules.
What do we violate? Wait, really?
What? I was stealing money out of the cafeteria's pockets.
Oh, I thought you were being for real.
I am for real. We're gonna be fighting heavily for that.
It's a school fundraiser though.
Doesn't matter.
That makes no sense.
Oh, right.
Doesn't matter.
If that's the case, the school violates their own rules.
Right.
Hashtag not my phone.
Hashtag, I don't know how to do this anymore.
Well,
we have a. I know,
Well, it goes on the top line of the chart.
Wait, what is that? The chart. The eight.
It goes on the top line of the chart.
You know what? Freaking.
What's given to you in the question? Grams, right? So it goes on the bottom line of the chart. Gram. What do you got to go to from a gram every time? Moles. If you want moles, you stop. If you don't want moles, then you got to throw another section and keep going. What I asked for.
So you have to push it down.
So with atoms, you got to keep going.
So you have to go something.
You have to go to moles every time. Because hydro chart doesn't have moles in it.
Except for the grams, we're not at that number.
Grams always comes from where? Periodic table.
So it's 51.
That's the atomic number. You always use the math.
Is that the number?
Alright, so Alejandro today? Who sent the brother Cynthia? Chris, he's still out here?
Yes. I mean, he's not here.
Okay. Cheyenne, it's grab and go.
Yeah, he's coming in right now.
Coming in right now, alright. Alondra, is she at grab and go? Probably. Did you see Alondra at grab and go? No. Kevin, is Alondra here today? Live in a different house? Okay, I didn't know.
Y'all look alike. They do.
Yes.
Family or cousins.
That's your
Alright.
Alright, so we're gonna go with Alondra is not at grab and go today. And behind Alondra is Nadia. Has everybody seen Nadia today?
No.
No. Takes care of it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 people out today.
Oh.
You have to use that.
I think anybody who would be here was at the airport for opening. Kevin, you forgot to put your name on your opening yesterday.
Come on, man.
Fortunately, you were the only person who didn't, so
Right.
I could figure it out.
So, if we're going from moles to atoms, I only need one chart. Where are you going?
You need one chart, but it's gonna be three across.
Moles.
You said moles to atoms? It's only one chart. See, yeah, y'all confusing me now.
Not really.
Annabelle, did you look at anything from last night?
Did homework. And then me and Seth were talking, and we were like, it's not a homework.
No.
Like,
You remember when you and I talked about this yesterday?
yes.
Yes? You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you start in atoms, what do you have to go to from an atom?
Mole.
A mole. So this question starts in atoms. So if you start with atoms on the top line, where does atoms have to go in the chart? On the bottom. Whatever's on the top has to go to the bottom so it can cancel. And if we're in atoms, what do we have to go to next? A mole. If the question asks you for moles, do you have to draw a third section? No, you're done. Okay, so you only need a 2-step chart in this question.
So I don't have to use the 6.02.
Okay, every time you write atoms in a chart, that gets Avogadro's number. Every time you write moles, it gets 1. And every time you put grams in the chart, you have to use the periodic table.
So
That never changes.
1.56 is irrelevant.
That's the starting data. It went here. The starting data always goes on the top line. That never changes either. Okay? So what goes down here beside atoms? Okay, Avogadro's number. What goes beside moles on the top? 1. And then you can calculate. .56 second EE 25 divide 6.022 second EE 23. I got 25.9.
Wait, for which one?
Number 2. Everybody okay with 2?
Yeah.
All right. So number 1, if I go back. So 12.5 grams. What goes on the bottom? If I start in grams, what has to go on the bottom? From a gram, we have to go to a what? If I want moles, I'm done. Did they ask me for moles? So I have to draw a third section. Moles is on top. It has to go where? On the bottom. From a mole, I can now go to an atom. Every time I write grams, what has to go beside a gram? The periodic table. Okay, it never changes. Grams comes from the periodic table. So what element did I give you up here? Antimony. Just because I said it was number 51 doesn't mean its mass is 51. Okay, I just gave you that to help you find it. Okay, its mass is what? 121.76. All right, moles always gets what? 1. At least right now, because we're not sophisticated, we don't know how to balance. All right, atoms gets Avogadro's number. So 12.5 times 6.022 second EE 23 divide 121.76. So I got 6.18 times 10 to the 23rd. That's 22nd. And and atoms for my unit. Now, does that help Annabelle?
Yes.
Okay, so are we done with 3 and 4, or do I need to be still for a minute? I need to be still for a minute.
So you can go directly from atoms to moles, but you can't go from grams to atoms. You have to use moles.
Every chart should have moles in it. Every conversion we will do this entire semester has to pass through moles. Okay.
Bond, that was
Ionic and covalent. Remember, we're doing ionic naming right now. On Monday, we're going to do a little sort of mini lab. But after we do the mini lab, we're going to start bringing covalent naming in. And once we bring in covalent, you have to know whether you have an ionic compound or covalent compound. Because ionic can only be named with a stock system. Covalent can be named stock and old system. And some of you are going to blend those two systems beautifully. And some of y'all are going to be like, I electrocuted you and start putting in things you can't do because you're not going to remember which one's ionic and which one's covalent.
Yep.
So you've got to be able to tell me if it's an ionic bond or covalent bond, because you cannot use the prefixes on ionic compounds once we learn this old system. It only gets worse. Yes.
Yes.
And raise 25. 1.56 second. Now just stop the exponent. Okay? Whatever the exponent is. That's all you got to do. Welcome.
My biggest problem is gonna be finding these things on the.
You will adapt. You will get faster.
Family business image isn't on here.
Okay, well, I'm gonna see
What? You do it, so I can
How about now? We got enough time now?
See, I'm just like.
Don't judge. It's okay. Just don't be dyslexic on the quiz or test. Just don't be dyslexic on the quiz or the test.
I'm like.
Then double check yourself.
I just couldn't read the main.
All right, can we look at some what you have?
No.
We're going to anyway. Number 3. We've already spent 15 minutes on the open people. All right, so if we look at number 3, what can you tell me about number 1? Ionic, what kind of element does it start with? As soon as it starts with the metal, you don't even need to look up anybody else. If it starts with the metal, it's what kind of compound? It's ion. Okay? The second one, CAI, what does it start with? It starts with the metal. It's automatically what? It's automatically ionic. And the last one, PCl3. What's PCl3 start with? All right, it starts with a non-metal, so check the next one to make sure they're both non-metals. Okay? But they're both non-metals, so it's covalent. So, how do we write the formulas for aluminum nitride? Aluminum is what symbol? Al. Has what oxidation number? +3. Nitride is N. It has a what? -3. So we know from yesterday we don't need the plus or the minus. Now, what can you tell me about both those numbers? They're the same number. What's going to happen to them? They're going to cancel out. I wouldn't even waste my time crisscrossing them, because if you do, half of you are going to forget to reduce. ALM.
I think I did my whole homework.
You probably didn't. There are very few that are going to reduce. This happens to be one of them. All right, Ca for calcium has what oxidation number? +2. Iodide is I, and what oxidation number? All right, so we know that the plus and the minus are going to go away.
The signs don't even matter.
Not really.
I did not know that.
2 and 1. The signs are only to tell you who's first and who's last. So Ca has a 1 on it. I'm not writing the 1. And I has a 2. Questions? Yes, ma'am. I told you the quiz goes through. Quiz is all math. And the question numbers have been cut down today.
What?
2.
Yeah.
I would strongly recommend you show me work, so if you do something stupid, I can give you partial credit. Now, you need a periodic table and a calculator. And if you don't know Avogadro's number and you want your orange reference table so you can look it up, feel free to have that out. But if you're Kevin and I'm never going to forget it, Ms. Walt, then you don't need your orange reference table because it's the only thing on it that's useful. All right?
Oh.
All right, come on. You got lots to do today. Unless you want to be watching my old YouTube videos to finish our lesson from the lab Monday. You need to pick up the pace. No, that's a stimulating way to spend the weekend. You just watch me teach on YouTube. Alright, like I said, they're 20 points apiece. Show me work, so if you do something stupid, I can give you partial credit. Grab your chemistry bottle. Walk up there behind the door, you see all those little trays? The bottom trays have periodic tables. The bottom one. Welcome. Oh, like super smushed up pieces. Okay, go to that back counter. And how many go to that? I'm gonna go to the back counter. I can move all. I ain't got enough places to move it. Oh, let's switch it that way. If you can't find something, let me know. And I will direct you to where the element is, so you're not hunting for it for 20 minutes.
What would be, if it's the what's the term on it? What is the?
I gave you two.
Oh.
How many of you are still working? That's not too bad. Mm-hmm. How many of you are working now? Okay, so I just have Malaysia. Malaysia, you tell me when you're done. You said you're done? All right, if you will, pass your papers to the front. Now, looking at our schedule, it looks like our next test should fall about next Friday, next Monday. So I know it won't be Friday, given our schedule for next Friday. So, looks like about a week from Monday will be our next test.
Yes, we can do this.
What was that even on? Like, just so.
Heat, physical and chemical changes, converting units, all that good stuff.
That was Monday.
That was this week.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, our next test. So,
It feels like it was on. It feels like
our next test.
we're in the second quarter. I guess because it's hot, it feels like it's spring, but it's not.
Stop. Cold air's coming back. All right. You can put your calculators up. So go put your calculators up. We don't need those anymore today. And you'll need your blue oxidation sheets, and that's it. You can put your other charts away too.
That's what she has to text me, and she knows that.
Come on, hurry up. So you don't have to watch YouTube this weekend. Because we need to get through everything on the board so we get to our lab on Monday.
Okay, you're a problem child.
You left the house today, it didn't occur to you to take a look back on you. We're going to the mall today. All right, we got the calculators put up. I don't have them all.
Nope.
All right, looks like those are the last of them coming in now. All right, so yesterday we learned how to write formulas. So let's look at your homework real quick and make sure that we're okay with formulas. Let me grab one of the copies that I had yesterday. I've got it. All right, so number one should say NaF. Number two, MgCl2.
Wait.
Really, people?
Yeah. So the only thing, so even if it's -1, you still don't write it. That's I wrote.
You don't write -1. There can be no negative signs down there, no positive signs. You can have the 1 if you want, but that's it. All right, number 3, Al2S3.
All right, what was number 2?
MgCl2. Anybody else need me to go back?
People, number 1.
Might as well just start over.
All right, NaF, MgCl2, Al2S3, 4NiF2, 5CR3N2, 2, 6 CU2O, 7 ZNI2, 8 CABR2. Are we good?
Number 3.
All right, number 3 has Al. It has an oxidation number of 3. Sulfide is S. There's a whole bunch of numbers, but it's last, so it has to be a 2. Bring your 2 down, bring your 3 down.
I'm just like, I think I mixed 2 and 3 up because I feel like ALC and chlorine, not sulfide.
Okay. All right, so we're okay on that. Everybody feels okay with 1 through 8. All right, so today we're going to learn to write names. And again, we're starting with binary ionic. Now, because we're going to learn to do polyatomic ions in a few minutes, what does it mean to be binary ionic? With the hope that Annabelle's not going to wig out on me by the end of class. What does it mean to be binary ionic? All right, 2 elements. And we already know that these have to be a metal and a non-metal. So, the rules that we're about to talk about are specific to being 2 elements, because we're going to talk about adding and ending to these. Now, when we talk about polyatomic ions, we're not going to add this ending because you're not going to have 2 elements. Okay? So, 2 elements. Number 1, name the first element. We do absolutely nothing to the first element. We just write its name. Number 2, name the second element. And add an IDE ending. Now, in parentheses, I'm going to write the word binary here. All right? We add an IDE ending because it's binary. When we get to polyatomic ions, we will not alter an ending or do anything weird because it's not binary anymore.
That's
Okay?
why it's chloride instead of chlorine.
That's right. That's why it's chloride instead of chlorine. It's binary. Now, number 3 is the one that causes us the greatest issues. Okay? You have to check the first element. If more than 1 oxidation number is listed on the sheet, you must include a Roman numeral. Okay, so we're going to check the first element.
Is that if more than 1 oxidation number?
Yep.
Then I gotta write it up.
If more than 1 oxidation number is listed on the sheet, you must include a Roman number. If only 1 oxidation number, no Roman numeral. Now, I put that last part there because some folks look at me and go, can't we just put 1 to be on the safe side? The answer is no. You only put one there if it's needed. You can't just say, I'll be safe and include one. Doesn't work that way. If you put one and you don't need one, it's wrong. If you need it and don't put it, it's also wrong. Right? There are specific rules for when you do and don't need Roman numbers, and you have to use them. All right, is there anybody still writing? I think that's why everybody's get caught up. All right, so let's say that we want to write the name for CAF2. All right, what's the name for CA? So we write calcium. We just write its full name out. What's the name for F? Fluorine. All right, now, because this is binary, all right, we change the ending to fluoride. Now, if you look at the back of your blue card, I know some of you can't spell. It's one of my most hated subjects. All right, if you look at the bottom of the card, I put common spellings for binary ions. Okay? Because every year we take the quiz and the test, and people go, "Do you take off for spelling?" If you leave out a vowel or a consonant, and it's only one, no, I'm not going to count off for spelling. However, if you mutilate the name, yes, I am. All right, I've given you a card that has all the spellings on it. I've spelled the binary ions. I've spelled the polyatomic ions. You should be able to copy them off a piece of paper. Now, if you copy something wrong and leave out a consonant or a vowel, okay, I understand. If you mutilate it, you can't work with that. So, when you look up fluoride, if you don't know how to spell it, turn up the back side of your paper and you can look it up, okay? And you can see fluorine, just change the INE to IDE, okay? Now, the last rule, you need to look up the first element to see, does chlorine, it's Friday. I've had a rough week. Calcium, does it need a Roman number? Now, when you look up calcium, a lot of people look it up and look at it and go, calcium has a +2. And they're confused. How many numbers is that? It's a singular number. Yes, it's a +2, but it's only one number. So every time calcium is written in a formula, its number will always be a what? It will always be a 2. So do we have to specify that it's a 2 right here as a Roman number? No. That's why we never use a Roman number with calcium, because every time calcium's name is written, it's always a 2. So we never use Roman numbers because it only has one oxidation number it can ever be. Okay? Now, the flip side of that is something like NiF2. Okay? So what's Ni? Nickel. And F again is fluoride. Now, when you look up its oxidation numbers, what do you find there? You find that nickel has a +2, a +3, and a +4. It has multiple oxidation numbers. You must use a Roman number here because you have to tell me the oxidation number used in the formula. Okay, that's what the Roman number is for. You're telling me what oxidation number is in that formula. So if I then want to write the name, I know which one you used. Okay? So you have to look at the formula and you have to backwards crisscross. So that number came from up there. And what number is in that circle? It's a 1 because nothing is there. And we would know it was negative because it's last. This 2 came from up there. And we would know it was what because it's first. It's a positive 2. So what oxidation number did nickel have in this formula? That's the Roman number we put right there. We don't pick a 2 because it's first on the sheet. We don't write 3 because there are 3 numbers on the sheet. We have to figure out the number that's in the formula because you're telling me the number that's in this formula. That's what the Roman number's for. Okay? You don't have to tell me the Roman number here because the only number calcium can ever be up there according to the sheet is a what? It was a +2. It only had calcium is a +2. It can't ever be any other number. So when I write a formula, I know calcium can always only be +2. You don't have to tell me that. But nickel has options. So you got to tell me which option to pick. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay. Sort of like this. If I write copper Cl and CuCl2, can we agree that those formulas are different?
Yeah.
Okay, they both exist. But if you wrote the name and you wrote copper chloride, and then you wrote this one as copper chloride, would I know which one you were talking about? No. You got to tell me which one. So they have a difference because they have a different oxidation number. So you got to tell me which one we're talking about. So you have to use a Roman number to tell me which one we're talking about. So what is that copper? How do you figure it out? This is a what? And this is a what? That's a 1. That's a 1. So what came from copper? 1. This is a what? This is a what? That's a 1. That's a 2. So this is what? Copper 2. So you have to tell me what oxidation number we're using. Now, a lot of times when I give this, let's just say I gave this on the test. People always go, I had to write the 1. In this case, yes, you have to write the 1. Because how would I know that you wanted me to use the Roman number 1 if you don't tell me? Okay? This is one of the rare times you have to use the 1. Because you have to tell me, oh yeah, Miss Wall, use the 1.
Use it.
Yeah. All right. At the bottom of your homework sheet. Same side. Go get some water. All right? Do as many as you can before I stop you. Some of you will get them all done. Some of you may only get 5 done.
Or 1.
You better get more than 1.
Already lost.
You can't be lost that bad yet.
It's gonna take me a hot minute to find these things.
They're alphabetized.
Oh, I don't need the thing.
What's wrong?
Am I trying to know where to be like copod or copper? She did it for me.
The first one I did for you.
Oh. Which one did you? Oh, okay, got it.
So So if it doesn't have more than one, you don't need it.
You don't need the Roman number, that's correct.
Do we only put the Roman number on the second first one?
Yes, you will never have a Roman number at the end.
So for when we have one that's iodine, we change it to iodide.
Remember, if you don't know how to spell it, look where? On the very back. Remember, I put the spellings on the back at the bottom. I know you missed me telling that. Anybody have a question for me? Want me to come see something? I'm just moving lesson plans around so I don't have to do it this weekend. Say it loud enough I can hear you. Clearly, y'all have that one covered for me. Whatever the question was, yes. 16. AL is what? Yep. And N is what?
Hydrogen.
Yep.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm not confused because it doesn't have three. So. What's PB?
What's what?
PB.
Lead.
Oh, I see it.
I think I'm doing it right now.
You think you are?
It's all.
All right, let me see it. I said, let me see it. Draw a pencil.
We just do the.
Yeah, just front side, the back side's probably some kind of. This one will have that. All right, you forgot the ending here, here, and here. I said you forgot the ending. There we go.
Oxide.
That's Bill. Now, see how you wrote this? I would mark those wrong, because I don't have any idea what that
It
says.
says nitrogen.
Okay, I can't read the ending, so I mark it wrong regardless. Iodine, I don't know if that's iodine or iodine. You gotta write legend.
Oh, Annabelle, I finally get it on to you. Is she?
Other than where I put an X on number 10. No, I was going to put the week to the slide. And line side.
Oh.
That's two.
One number. It is a two, it's only one number, so it doesn't. If you look at manganese.
Yeah, that's what I was looking
Yeah, manganese doesn't.
Wait,
No, those two are fine.
this one.
Doesn't matter, everything has to be I, if there's two elements.
Or just like.
That's what I
Nitride. Yes. Yes. All right, let's look at what you have. All right, so number 9 we did together. So number 10, magnesium bromide, no Roman number. Several of you may have one because you looked up manganese, which is below it. All right, magnesium only has a +2. If it only has a +2, does it need a Roman number? No. Manganese, which is right below it, which is often mixed up with magnesium, causes issues. So make sure you keep the two straight. All right, number 11, calcium oxide. Number 12, iron 3 oxide. Number 13, manganese 7 oxide. 14, silver fluoride. 15, potassium iodide. 16, aluminum nitride. 17, tin 2 chloride. 18, barium sulfide. And 19, lead 2 iodide. We good?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk polyatomic ions. All right, so with polyatomic ions, the nice part about polyatomic ions is that we don't have to write down any new steps. We're just going to expand on what you already know. All right, so now we're going to do formulas with polyatomic ions. So, let's say that we want to write a formula such as aluminum sulfate. Now, first of all, how do you know that that is something that has a polyatomic ion? There you go. All right. There's no IDE, so it's not binary. Now, I do want to point out 2 exceptions to you. So do you have your blue chart where you can see it? Look down. I'm going to borrow Karen since she's on front. All right, if you cover up those 3 columns, here are your polyatomic ions. This is the part I told you I screwed up yesterday. I tried really hard, put it in alphabetical order, and then I realized I missed a couple. And then I was like, now this column, and I screw up the rest of the other side of the table. So I just stuck them at the bottom. So they're mostly alphabetized, except the ones at the bottom that are not. Okay? So if you're looking for something and you're like, this one ain't there. All right, so when you look down here are the names of your polyatomic ions and here are the formulas for the polyatomic ions. Now, if you look up sulfate, you'll find it says ATE, no problem. But if you look down the column, there are two that end in IDE. Find the two that end in IDE. Make that three. There's three then. I wasn't even thinking I had peroxide on there. Never mind. Peroxide I won't be using with you, so you don't have to worry about peroxide.
I don't see
Cyanide.
Cyanide and hydroxide. Cyanide and hydroxide are the two exceptions you will see. Okay? So I want to note those. Okay? And I'll come right back to the one I'm working. Okay? Cyanide
Are we ever going to use
is CN with a -1.
Are we ever going to use hexachloroplatinate?
Hexachloroplatinate.
What about peroxide? Is that what that counts?
I won't give you that one. Now, these two, all right, are exceptions. I'm going back to that compound in just a second. All right, they both end in IDE, yet they're polyatomic ions. So I just want to point those out to you. So when you see them, you know that, okay, they do end in IDE, but they're polyatomic ions. There are very few times this semester that I will use the words always and never, because there are more exceptions in chemistry than Heinz has pickles, okay? So it's just an expression. Don't count on things to not have exceptions in chemistry class. So when you look at this, ATE should scream to you, I am polyatomic. But sometimes you might look at it and see IDE and be like, yes, it's binary. And then be like, dang, it's not. Okay? Those are the two you need to keep in mind. So when you look at this, what are we going to do? Same thing you did last night. What's aluminum symbol? So you're going to write Al. And you're going to look up its oxidation number, which is what? +3. I'm not even going to write the plus today. I'm just going to write the 3. Now, sulfate. Do the same thing you did last night, except instead of looking up one element, you're just going to look up all of the symbols that go with sulfate on the polyatomic ion column. So what is sulfate's entire formula? All right, so make sure everybody knows how to write it. SO4 is at the bottom. That is part of its formula, okay? The 2 that is at the top is its oxidation number. Does everybody see that? When you look up sulfate on the sheet, SO and the 4 that's at the bottom, the number at the bottom is part of its formula. The 2 that is at the top is the oxidation number, the -2. And it says probably 2- on there. I'm not sure. It either says -2 or 2-. I don't know which. Okay. Sometimes it'll say 2-, but 2- and -2 are the same thing. Now, the 2 is the oxidation number. Now, this is the only new piece. Polyatomic ions need, all right, let me fix that. It looks terrible. Need parentheses. That's all we need to do. Okay? So we're going to put parentheses around the SO4. Notice I left the what outside? The -2, because what do I need to do with the 2? I got to crisscross it. Okay? What did we do last night with the oxidation numbers? We crisscrossed, right? We still have to crisscross today. Now, the stuff inside the parenthesis is sacred. We can't touch that. That's part of the formula. The only thing we move or switch are the oxidation numbers. So the 3 comes over here. The 2 comes over here. Okay?
When we write it, we have to make sure it doesn't look like it's 43.
Correct. That's one of the reasons we use the parentheses. Okay? And it will be really important when we do math with these formulas after we learn to write their formulas. Yes, we're going to do math with them. So Al2, parentheses, SO4, close the parentheses, 3. Yes, you're going to learn to write the mass of these, calculate the mass, and we're going to learn to find the moles and the molecules of these. Yes, no. And then we're going to put them in equations and learn to balance with them. No, we're not.
Wait, so whatever stays in the parentheses doesn't.
Does it what? No, whatever's in the parentheses does not get crisscrossed. That's why you leave the oxidation number outside.
Wait, where's the other two?
What other two? This 3, crisscross down here. This 2, crisscross down here.
Oh, I was looking, yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Sorry, that was the work. That's the answer.
I was like, what is that random floating to doing there?
No, that was the work. That's the answer. All right, can we try another one? Okay. This isn't hard. This is the same thing you did last night. It's not.
I'm just so out of it to go home. Alright.
All right, let's say we do magnesium chlorite. Now, there are a couple types of chlorates on the sheet. You have to make sure you pick the right one. Remember what I told you about partial credit. Is there any?
Nope.
No. So if you pick the wrong one, you get the wrong answer. You get correct. These would be 10-point questions on the quiz Tuesday. So magnesium is Mg. What oxidation number? 2. All right. Chlorite would be what formula? ClO2. And what oxidation number? -1. All right. Parentheses around the ClO2, leaving the 1 on the outside so that it can be crisscrossed. Okay?
Got it.
So, taking my 2 travels all the way across, and the 1 travels all the way across, and I get Mg. Am I writing the 1?
No.
ClO2 with a 2. Are we okay with the process? Okay, I want to do 2 with parentheses where 1 parentheses is required that causes issues, and 1 where parentheses are not required. Okay, just to illustrate the difference. You okay over there?
No.
Has your family ever told you you're high maintenance?
No.
Okay.
They tell me other things. About that.
Okay. Is this one on the sheet?
No.
Rubidium.
Yes,
It's on there.
Rubidium sulfate. It's not rubidum.
Oh.
It's rubidium. All right, so rubidium sulfate. All right, what is rubidium? RB. Oxidation number?
1.
Sulfate?
SO3.
SO4 with a -2. All right, what do I do? All right, so the 1 goes over there, the 2 goes over there. So we end up with RB2, SO4, and I'm not writing the 1.
Right.
Now, the parentheses are optional
There's nothing above it.
if a 1 is outside. Okay? Now, if this was the state test, it would be written this way. I would write it this way. However, most of you will write it the way it's in the red, and it's fine. Okay? If the 1 is outside of the SO4, the parentheses do not have to be there. Okay? Questions about that? Now, that does not need to be confused with when parentheses are required.
Whoa.
Annabelle. What?
How much more do we have of this?
Of this? We're going to practice this, then we're going to learn how to write names with polyatomic ions. Rolling your eyes will not save you.
More.
All right. Suppose that we have, I don't know, chromium 6 cyanide.
There's no doubt in my mind that you have able to.
So,
It's Friday. Monday morning.
all right, so what do we do? What do we do? CR is
Oh, where's chromium?
6. Chromium is a 6. How do we know chromium's a 6? Those people who are not there. It's in Roman numbers. All right, so when we look up here, remember this is always the first element's oxidation number. Do you even need to look at your blue chart for that? Okay, you don't even need to look. It's right there in the question. CR has a +6. No need to look. All right, so from there, cyanide is CN, and it has what oxidation number? -1. What do I do now? Crisscross? Okay. And write it like this. What I need? Yes. Those of you who would have done this just got your answer wrong. Which is the mistake that we make all the time. This is wrong. Okay? What is cyanide? It's a polyatomic ion. Okay? So this had a 6, this had a 1. You need parentheses so that that 6 and that 1 come down, and you have CR, CN, parentheses 6. Because remember, a minute ago, I told you we were going to do some math with it, right? What does parentheses mean in math class? And distribute. Multiply and distribute. So in this formula, how many C's, how many carbons are there? There are 6 carbons. And there are how many nitrogens? There are 6 nitrogens. 6 carbons, 6 nitrogens. In this formula, there's 6 nitrogens. And how many carbons? There's 1 carbon. That's why this formula is wrong. Okay? When it's a polyatomic ion, the only time you can leave the parentheses off is when the number outside the parentheses is a what? It's a 1. Is the number outside there going to be a 1? No. But people look at this and they go, oh, there's no numbers right here by the C and N. They're both 1s, and they just automatically want to drop the parentheses. CN is still a polyatomic ion. You have to put it in parentheses before you crisscross. Okay? This is one of the most missed questions on the quiz and the test. Right there. People leave the parentheses off. It's not a partial credit mistake. It is a full credit -10, or on the test -2 error. It does not get partial credit. Everybody see why? Okay, on the back side of your sheet, I want you to do as many as you can in that top section before I stop you. Okay? Write their formulas. Yes. Even if it's what? Yes, you can still write the parentheses. And I will not take off. Okay? I will not take off the first year class for writing parentheses that are not needed or 1 that's not needed. Okay? I only take off if they need to be there and they're not there. Right? Okay? I don't take off for extras. This one here. Okay, so when you look up the oxidation of it, so when you look up like sulfate, see how you have this little tubes in the air? That's the oxidation of it. It needs to be outside the parentheses so it's available to be able to crisscross. Yeah, you have SO4 and the little fours down there. That has to be inside the parentheses. You're not going to crisscross you. Okay? Anybody else have a question? Anybody need me? It sounds suspiciously like no out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that the one that said something about an acid? You just look it up on the chart.
Okay.
So do you like solve it or like?
Like what? And which one?
Just like, or is that-
You just write it down. Just copy it. I know it's a trick question, just to see if y'all are paying attention. Okay, that's done. How we coming? We almost done? All right, because I need to go over some, so.
No, 2 more.
Yeah, but we need to finish writing names before y'all are watching YouTube this weekend. And I don't want y'all to have to do that. All right, so number 1, AGNO3. If you wrote the ones or you put in the parentheses, it's fine. So AG, parentheses, NO3, close the parentheses. All right, number 2, Na2SO4. If you have the parentheses, it's fine. Na2, parentheses, SO4, close the parentheses. Number 3, Fe, parentheses, ClO2, close the parentheses, 3. 4, Pb, parentheses, ClO4, close the parentheses, 4. 5, Zn3, parentheses, PO4, close the parentheses, 2. Number 6, I told you just copy it off the chart, H2SO3. Number 7, NaClO3. You can have the parentheses also, Na, parentheses, ClO3, close the parentheses. If you wrote the ones, it's also fine. Number 8, Al2, parentheses, SO4, close the parentheses, 3. 9, Mg, parentheses, NO2, close the parentheses, 2. Questions? All right. Numbers 10 through 20. Let's talk about how to write the names real quick. All right. Then you'll be ready for the lab on Monday. Don't get excited. You're only cutting, gluing, and pasting. All right. So we're going to write the names with polyatomic ions. Now, the nice thing about this is you don't have to do anything with an ending. Okay? So this is even easier. All the steps are the same, except you use the ending from the oxidation sheet. Okay? So all the steps are the same, except you use the ending from the oxidation sheet. You don't have to change anything. Okay? No IDE or anything else. So everything else is identical. So let's say that we have Ni and ClO4 and a 3. All right. So what was step 1 when y'all wrote the name?
Name the first element.
So what's the name of the first element? It's who? Nickel. All right. So that's the lesson in this. If you don't know, look it up. Because remember, I'd marked that wrong. All right. Now, this one's an easy one because you have parentheses. The parentheses should scream to you, I am a what? That's right. That should scream to you, I'm a polyatomic ion. So look down the column of polyatomic ions, and all you have to do is find its name. So what is ClO4? ClO4.
Oh, no.
Perchlorate. Okay, ion. It's an ion on that sheet. Once you put it together with nickel, it's not an ion anymore. So drop the ion part. So it's perchlorate. How you pronounce it? Perchlorate. So we've got the name. You don't have to change the ending. All you have now is step 3. So what was step 3?
Check the first element, and there's
Just-
more than one oxidation number on the sheet, including Roman numeral.
Okay,
And
so-
but only one don't.
okay. So we're looking up nickel. Checking nickel to see if it has more than one on the sheet. What can we say about nickel? I hear a yes. So nickel has a +2, +3, and +4. So we need a Roman number. All right, so we're looking here. That 1 came from up there. That 3 came from up there. So we use a what? Roman number 3. Nickel 3 perchlorate.
So we did?
That's it.
Don't worry, writing it, we have to put a Roman number.
Only if you need one. So let's say that
And
I
you
give you,
don't- You don't add those numbers up, you just see however many there are.
yeah.
Okay, so about 7.
So let's say I give you this one. And this time I don't have Roman or parentheses in it. Okay? So what's K? So you write potassium. Now, just because there are no parentheses doesn't mean you don't have a polyatomic ion. Okay? How many capitals are in there?
Carbonate.
I tried to be very clear in writing 3 giant capitals. Okay? There are 3 capitals here, which means you have a polyatomic ion.
Carbonate.
So, after you name that first element, everything after that line, you're looking up together to get one name. Okay? So, after potassium, you're not going to name it carbon oxygen. People will do that on the test. I just laugh and mark it wrong and move on. All right? So, look up the name after that first element together. Yes, dear. Everything together. All right? So, CO3 together, Annabelle's yelling out, is carbonate. So, you will name it as carbonate.
There's no Roman number.
Now,
Yes.
look up potassium on the sheet. How many numbers does potassium have?
One.
Only has 1. So if it only has 1 number, does it get a Roman number?
No.
No. So it's potassium carbonate, and we're done.
Oh.
Are you with me?
Yes.
All right, how am I on time?
Not very.
I've got 7, 8 minutes or so. So let us do just the first 4 on that next section. Just the first 4. Okay, that won't take us very long, and we'll have time to go over it while I hand out homework. We're doing the first 4. So we're doing 10, 11, 12, and 13.
We don't have those. Yeah.
Yes, dear.
Everyone knows. Did we just ignore the number outside the parentheses?
The number outside the parentheses came from the first element's oxidation number. I'm going to teach you something else you got to know about it on Monday. I did. I just skipped you. Struggling. Skipped you with homework. Skipped you and put in Cynthia's grade for you. You're struggling. You're going to keep me straight this semester, Patricia. Did everybody get a homework paper? Did I miss anybody else? Wait. Tell me, I'm struggling today.
It's Friday.
Bad shape today. Is there anybody else I skipped? Yeah, but then I checked it, so you can see where it's going to be your thing.
Yikes.
All right, how are we coming? Almost done? All right, I've got 4 minutes. We're okay. Yeah, because we already put the calculators up, so we're good time-wise.
You can go ahead and tell us what you're doing on homework.
1 through 20.
All of them?
Yeah. The other 5 are covalent. You can try those if you want, but we're doing 1 through 20. All right, can we do the first 4 now?
Yeah.
All right, so number 10 is lead 4 nitrate.
4.
Got to have a Roman number 4.
2.
Nope, it's a 4. Number 11 is zinc chlorate. No Roman number there.
I got 2.
No Roman number. Number 12 is aluminum chromate. And 13 is sodium phosphate. If you did not get them right, remind me on Monday and we'll talk about them. Okay? We've still got 3 minutes, so after you pack up, keep your butts in your chair until 11:40. You know, I thought it was supposed to be fixed by now based on what I'd heard, but clearly not. Last I knew we were waiting on a part.
We got a new doorbell.
Oh yeah, we did get a new doorbell, that I know. A new camera and doorbell system to get in and out of the school for security. Which is good because that other one was terrible.
Really? That get added. Like,
But back over there. You try to remember you're coming to school Monday.
they don't study on me. They don't study on me.
Today, this, I didn't even see it all. This just made me so mad. There was no thing. I didn't know how was it. Me and Jeff Baby were talking about like, hey, so we weren't paying attention to our student her breakdown. This guy was over here. Pop, pop. Like,
It's like
You already like on the right to get list. So right, you know, let's argue that way. You still forget for physical policy. So like, we did not get there. Did you hear what his boss was? You know, she walked up with him, and we said, she came, she stopped, and I looked back.
All right, it's 11:40.
She understand like hey.
Hello.
And then the reporter said, "Damn it, Skull." And
Hello?
I was like, "Oh God!" And she left the game.
Ah. Hello, Joseph. How are you?
Hello.
I said, hello. How are you?
Good.
What are they talking about?
Is today an easy day, Miss Wall?
Depends on your definition. I mean,
Is it
we're
a
going,
lot of work? Is it a quantity of work?
we're going to last of the test review. We're going to learn about balanced and unbalanced forces and possibly start friction. Is that a lot of work?
That's not a lot of work.
Or is it?
Notes aren't a lot, but
There's no lab or anything today.
like cookies didn't come yesterday,
Ah,
and they should be here today.
ah,
I'm mad.
ah.
I keep checking my phone to see if my mom messaged me and said cookies.
You got any stuff?
Hmm.
Dentist.
I did in fourth period.
Why we got no opening today?
I didn't pull it up. Sorry. I was sitting here editing my website.